Terry Gilliam, often maligned, often deified, often for the same reasons. I fall in the camp of those who sing his praises as a visionary genius, a true auteur. Has any other filmmaker created such an impressive collection of critically acclaimed, fan-appreciated commercial failures? And created such rich, imaginative live-action worlds with so limited financial resources, until he goes over budget. His creations exist in alternate universes very similar to ours, but with different laws of time and physics. So let's get to them. I've ranked the 12 feature films Gilliam directed, with the exception of The Meaning of Life, since even though he directed a piece of it, it was primarily directed by Terry Jones. So here they are, ranked in order of my preference for them. Number 12, The Brothers Grimm. The lowest ranked movie on the list is also the one with the highest budget, which often means compromise, and that's the case here. The result is a dulled vision where style remains instead of substance. Peeking at the cast list, I see that Game of Thrones' Cersei Lannister had a role, which I don't remember, so that's one thing that might lead me to checking this out again in the future, as I've only seen it one time. Number 11, Tideland. This one gets knocked down a peg due to disappointment, perhaps a little bit my fault as I had such high expectations based upon the source material and also seeing that Jeff Bridges was attached to the cast. After the Brothers Grimm, I was hoping to see a return to excellence for Gilliam, but it seemed kind of flat and self-indulgent. I've only watched it the once when it first premiered, similar to the Brothers Grimm, so it's definitely one that I'm going to give another shot. Number 10, Jabberwocky. The solo directorial debut for Gilliam, and it shows. Like many low-budget first films, it's a little bit uneven, imbalanced, but also promising. Gilliam was still honing his craft and his vision, and the best thing about it is that we see many glimpses of what was soon to come. Number 9, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. When one of the lead actors dies halfway through filming, that typically spells disaster. But what Gilliam then did, with the help of Johnny Depp, Jude Law, Colin Farrell, and Xander Gladish, was fitting, touching, and beautiful. This was also the first time that I saw Andrew Garfield, who I thought was incredibly talented, and he since went on to become the Amazing Spider-Man, and still my girlfriend, Emma Stone. Number 8, The Zero Theorem. This spiritual sequel to Brazil is a return to form for Gilliam. Some have called the film pointless, without even the slightest hint of irony. Is there a more urgent call to life than the knowledge that we will all die, and yet a more despairing idea than considering that everything will cease to exist? It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. But Gilliam is no idiot. He's a visionary. I've only seen this movie once, so time and repeated viewings will determine whether it reaches up into the top 5, or if it was all just an accident and the auteur is dead. Number 7, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. This blew my mind as a kid. I felt like I had lucked into a secret movie that no one else knew about and that I might never see anything like it again. At that time, I didn't know the name Terry Gilliam, and I didn't know that he had also created another childhood favorite of mine, more on that later. I just knew that the Angel of Death was terrifying, and that it appeared at a time when both a stage of my childhood and an era of movies was ending. Number 6, The Fisher King. As I mentioned in the Robin Williams episode, I don't hold The Fisher King in as high regard as I did in the past, but it's still an excellent movie. Often associated with his visual flair, Gilliam's greatest success here is what he captured from the actors. As I mentioned, Robin Williams, but also Jeff Bridges, obviously, Mercedes Ruehl, Amanda Plummer, and the late Michael Jeter. All quality performances. Number 5, 12 Monkeys. Similar to The Fisher King, 12 Monkeys was a movie I loved much more when I was younger, and it seemed far more subversive, but again, it's still an excellent movie. Depending on my mood, some parts come off a little campy at times, but then there are other times when I completely enjoy these exact same parts. That's typical for Gilliam's films and part of their charm to me. They're not safe and they take atypical risks. It also gets extra points for the mischievous theme music. Number 4, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Unlike the previous two, this is one that just gets better as we mature. And that's atypical for silly comedies, though not so much for Monty Python. With a better attention span and overall knowledge, we can pick up and appreciate more and more with each viewing. It's so absurd from the very start, literally. And that absurdity is just something painfully missing from today's comedies. Number 3, Brazil. Arguably the best film on the list. It only misses the top 2 due to how special those movies are to me personally. If someone were to ask me for a recommendation based upon their enjoyment of Fritz Lang's Metropolis, I'd point them to Brazil. It owes quite a bit to Orwell's 1984, but what dystopian doesn't? It still stands alone, has its own voice, and is, unfortunately, more relevant today than it was 30 years ago. Number 2, Time Bandits. If you have a kid, please watch this film. And if you don't have a kid but want to tap into that magical, adventurous spirit that dulls with age, as it does, please watch this film. Catching it when I was younger had the same transporting effect as the first novels that I read. It's one of the earliest of a type of 80s film that involved children protagonists that weren't exactly designed specifically for children. Some other ones are The Goonies, The Never-Ending Story, Labyrinth, Stand By Me, The Last Starfighter, The Explorers. For better or worse, it seems now we just manufacture franchises. Number 1, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Not just my fave Gilliam, but one of my faves of any director. I've seen this literally over 100 times, most instances starting around like 4:19 p.m. It just came out at the right time in my life for me to best enjoy it. But that doesn't discredit how perfect a representation of Hunter S. Thompson and the book it is. Gilliam's visuals and skewed camera just enhance the feel. And Johnny Depp, with his idiosyncrasies and quirkiness, recently a bit played out. They're perfect here, and they're appropriately over the top. Benicio del Toro is as good a second man as John Goodman is in The Big Lebowski, almost. And the rest of the supporting cast, they also are bizarrely memorable characters that are excellent. Everyone involved found the main nerve. Alright, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And if you want to connect with me on Twitter and Instagram, you can do so at Chris Giddens. I want to also thank Imaginarium for planting the seed for me to do Gilliam in this video. And if you have specific actors or directors or type of movies you'd like to see me rank in the future, please let me know. I'd love to hear those suggestions as well. Thanks for watching.